Alright, so I've got Kaveh and Meenah here, and we're talking about whether or not religion is relevant in a modern liberal thinking or liberal world. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good evening.
George, take the floor. Might start with the liberal aspect of the world. I wouldn't say it's liberal in its entirety. Obviously, people have different political ideologies. There is definitely a liberal sort of cultural shift. You can call it cultural Marxism depending on which perspective you're looking at. I certainly consider it cultural Marxism. I personally believe that I'm free-thinking and I'm a religious person, so my answer to that question very simply is yeah, of course you can
it's relevant.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know we have somebody who maybe think a little bit different in Kaveh, so...
I think the question is important. Does religion have a place in a free-thinking society? Definitely. Free thinking inherently means you're open and free enough to choose what you want.
Yep.
Okay. Right. So it's a directional. It's a loaded question in the sense that it has a direction. If the direction is a secular direction, the secular society, which promotes secular thinking, critical thinking, and invests in developing critical minds, who then can go and choose off the shelf whether they want to practice religion, or they want to pursue an ideology or believe in an ideology. They want to create their own philosophy from a library of thoughts. Then yes. However, I think we are yet to get there, because religion at the moment, in traditional societies, religion is still detrimental to personal liberty, is still detrimental to justice, is still detrimental to human rights. I'm making a general statement about some traditional societies. I think I believe it's still detrimental to some certain elements of human rights and so on and so forth, because it has potential. It has the potential to express a power that cannot be regulated. In a liberal, in a secular country like Australia, religion is given concession, is given a free ride. It's given tax exemptions, land exemptions. It's given access to a lot more than other institutions. Therefore, it allows for environments to develop where kids are still indoctrinated in a way that religion becomes their core ideology. So it becomes a part of their precognition maturity. So when I say precognition, meaning before they have the cognitive ability to make moral decisions about what is right and wrong, based on general social order. They believe in a higher power, and they believe they do this because of this and because of that, and the church says this and the church says that, and that's problematic, because it's not something that you can take away. So at the end of the day, you will get to a point where you will have to make a call, and there may be some discrepancies between liberal thinking and religious ideology.
Okay.
I'd say just on the point of concessions, I mean, there is a reason that those concessions are given. One of the most benevolent, or the most benevolent, community in Australia is Christian groups. They're the ones that predominantly go out, feed the homeless, are charitable, etc.
A lot of community service organisations have a Christian
heritage or background, and that's the reason that those concessions are given, because it's to further encourage and facilitate that sort of benevolent nature. So I don't necessarily think that it's a negative thing, because you've also got to consider what the positive outcomes from it.
Yeah.
But then again, I think in one of our past debates, I answered your question with a question. Do you think that benevolence can only be practiced, that compassion can only be practiced through a religious institution?
No, of course not. But I'm saying the predominant manifestation of it is a religious nature.
So essentially, your answer to that doesn't always have to be through a religious institution, or an institution that has a religious foundation. That means that those concessions can be made to other social,
And they are.
but they-
And they are.
non-governmental organizations,
Yeah, but they are.
social,
But they are.
Yes, they're-
non-for-profit organizations to prosper
Yeah.
and yeah, that's
So,
right.
but they are being,
Yes.
so community service
They are.
organisations also get given
Yeah,
particular
definitely. So,
allowances.
not
But
that-
the thing is, sorry, if, like, the thing is, right now we have a pretty free market by way of community services. Anybody who wants to set up a not-for-profit organisation can, if they abide by particular rules and regulations, and set up
DGR, go to the ATO,
exactly,
etc.
set up an organisation that can be benevolent and help people. The fact still remains, though, that our major community service or our major welfare departments, other than the state enforced ones or the state constituted ones, are still religious-based organisations.
I rebut that on two levels. One is that if I should say I don't have enough information to say yes or no. I don't know whether if we were to take the NGO, if we were to look at the civil society in Australia and see what portion of it is religious, one portion of it is secular, civil society. So good doing, I guess, society. I don't know what those statistics would be. Can you tell?
I can't tell you my number, but I've been a community service worker for a long period of time, for about 10 years, and I can tell you that predominantly the money or the funding of organisations, like for different things, drug and alcohol support, homelessness, case goes to your Mission Australia's, your Senecares, your Salvation Army, your St. Vinny's, your Bernardos, all of whom have basis in Christian sort of ideologies. They are non-exclusive. So these organisations are non-exclusive, but they have a Christian ethos. Sorry, I'm not sure if the Bernardos is or has a Christian ethos anymore, but I know the others still have Christianity as part of their ethos. Yeah.
I think in a secular society and going based on the argument that I was presenting, in that I think every human being should be given a chance to develop critical thinking without indoctrination.
Agreed.
Within that context, I think it's problematic if religious organizations are getting most of the money. But there is a reason why, like I said, I don't know what the statistics are with how much of the civil society is made up of religious institutions. But there is something there that explains why, and that's because this is essentially predominantly a Christian country, and we were built on Christian organizations, doing the good deeds in this country. I say this because it was Christian organizations that stole generations and facilitated the stolen generation.
Can I just sort of say something about the indoctrination point, because I'm lucky enough to train at your gym, and I understand your training habits and I understand your eating habits. And if you were to one day have children, would it be indoctrination to teach them what you feel to be positive and healthy for them?
I'm glad you asked me that question because there is we can't make the mistake of comparing an ideological indoctrination to an indoctrination which is based around factual evidence. Factual evidence that is critically assessed, measured, scrutinized, and so on and so forth. So, for example, I may indoctrinate my kids into training from an early age because I know that they will become healthy. I'm not doing it and waiting for it to see what happens in terms of their ideology.
But if I can say with my young bloke, similarly, I know that to teach Christian values, whether you are a Christian or not, Christian values or Christian morals, Christian ethics are good for a human being. To be kind to your neighbour, to be non-judgmental. So not sometimes how it's practiced, but the actual essence of the teachings. So to be non-judgmental, to love thy neighbour as yourself, and sorry.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think the problem comes. The problem is not doesn't come from teaching those moral etiquettes. The problem I see coming as teaching those moral etiquettes and connecting those to Christianity, because those
That's where they come from.
they don't come from that.
Not initially.
Those
They come from that, yeah.
moral etiquette, those moral etiquettes, I can teach my kids the same moral etiquette
Absolutely.
without being Christian, yeah.
But you can teach your
Yeah.
kids to love other people and,
Yeah.
to sort of care and forgive and all of those things, because that's a nice thing to do. I can teach them all of these etiquettes. I can teach them all of these morals, which I'm really trying to indoctrinate my
Yeah.
child, if you like, with, because of. But I have a sort of a basis in which I say, like, I can at least have a reference point.
Yeah. Okay.
Why should I forgive? Because Jesus forgave us.
Yeah, and my argument is that it's not necessary, and I think it's dangerous, and it's dangerous in a couple of ways. I'm going to present why I think it's problematic, and give you an example. It's problematic because it can create identity crisis at a later age when this person that's grown up with a religious in a religious family is facing some is facing an identity crisis against the secular world. What happens there is he essentially associates the good doing with Christianity, so then when he wants to denounce his religion because he wants to be secular, he feels as though he's actually given up on being a good person. And that causes a major dilemma, and I witnessed this in a person that was pretty close to me, who actually went to he became self-admittedly was having suicidal thoughts because this person was a great person, morally a great person, but was in a relationship and was having sex with with the person that she, and it caused such a dilemma that she thought she was now a bad person because of what she was doing. You see, this is the identity crisis that I talk about when there is indoctrination.
And that's very valid. I'm happy to talk about that, but after
I'd say, specifically from a Christian perspective, I'll just say, with respect to that, people make mistakes. You know, fundamental to Christianity is redemption. Fundamental to Christianity is that you're.
So you think sex before marriage is a mistake?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
No, because
I'm sorry. With respect, I respect your point of
that's
view,
fine.
I'm sorry.
And I mean, there's other things that you might disagree with me on.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
But more to the point is that, you know, going back to that, redemption is a fundamental premise of Christianity, in that we're entitled to make mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, you get God's forgiveness, and it's a driver to become a better person, so that you don't make those same mistakes.
But even if you move the platform away from Christianity, and if you talk about religion, so if you talk about Christianity, so the big religions, the major religions, so Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and Buddhism, and Hinduism, they all teach elements of love, care, generosity, compassion, forgiveness, discipline, fasting, and sort of asceticism. Self-discipline. So I can understand your friend's sort of moral dilemma, tying all good things or all good aspects to Christianity. So when that particular part of her life is challenged, then baby with the bathwater and all the good sort of goes as well. But I think it's a little bit more fundamental than just rules, though. Like, I think it's an ingrained goodness. So I want to teach Joshua, my son, to be a good person. As part of being a good person, I need him to understand that others were good. Were good.
There is this lineage of men that have been able to be self-disciplined, whatever the context. There is a lineage of people
And if
that have been sacrificed to it.
and as much as it would hurt me, and I'm going to be very honest in front of a camera, as much as it would hurt me, if at 18 years old, when my son is in a position where he can choose to be religious or not to be,
It could be at a different age, but you
Like
understand.
at whatever age, if he makes the choice away from it, I will still teach the morality that I think he should have, which I believe is rooted in my Christian beliefs.
Yeah. And I think, sorry, to answer that, I can see where you're coming from. I want to point out what you said, in that it is so deep the understanding is so deep,
Yes.
which is actually contrary to the argument you're making. Because that's my point. Is that when it is taught, when moral values are taught by the prominent role model, which is the mother and the father in a family, or the mother and the mother in a gay family, regardless, the prominent figure, it is so deeply ingrained that if it's connected to something exogenous, like religion, rather than it being something that's internalized as the essence of a person, as soon as that external thing becomes a point of dilemma, then the identity of the person becomes problematic, causes a dilemma. So I think it's safer to teach kids morality without religion, and then letting them choose religion if they want to later on.
Sorry. Yep.
That's all right. Letting them choose religion, just like they would choose to study, I don't know,
either engineering or politics.
In university. I wanted to make a point about that when we talk about religion. The reason why, and I want to say this, the reason why there is a difference when we talk about Christianity and Islam and every other religion within the context of a secular society, and we have to acknowledge that, because in this secular society you have the choice, and within this secular society your voice is not the dominant voice.
No.
The voice of law, the voice of reason is the dominant voice.
In saying what I'm saying, theocracy, in my personal opinion, is never a good thing.
Yeah. Okay. So when we talk about this, we have to acknowledge that we are sitting in a seat where we've landed here by the decision of our parents, to come here specifically to get away from an environment of theocracy, of deep cultural indoctrination. Okay. Just so we have the choice. Yes, within this context, I think religion can be practiced in a much more healthier way. Okay, because the background is one of critical thinking. You know, we can take that with a grain of salt. That I encourage you. But essentially, it's secular. Yeah, and we have to acknowledge that because it's the democratization of Christianity which has actually, I think, saved Christianity to some degree, because Christianity
fits inside of a secular
Christianity. Christianity was the prominent religion of the West. The West, the Western capitalist system was at odds with religion at some point, and the capitalist system won. No, I'm saying where the capitalist system, where economics needed to go ahead, it went ahead of religion. You know what I mean? Take away the Catholic Church and so on and so forth, and the wealth that they have. So what I'm saying is that Christianity became democratized in the sense that it can be scrutinized openly, it can be criticized openly, they can make caricatures and satirical comments and cartoons and images without fear of retribution about Christianity, and I think that's a good thing.
About all religion.
I think not. It
should be, but it's really not.
It's not about Christianity. It is. Maybe somebody will get pissed off. Maybe you'll get offended. Sorry,
that's fine.
Maybe someone will get offended. Okay, but that's about all that it can happen. Maybe there will be churches upon churches that will hand out pamphlets about how wrong something was. However, I think some religions, Islam is one. I think Islam has not been democratized
because of the theocracy.
Not just because of the theocracy, because I think the reason why Islam hasn't been democratized is because of Edward Said, what Edward Said called Orientalism, and the Orientalist reality that is the way of the world. So Christianity was the religion of the colonialists and Islam was the religion of the victims, per se, in terms of imperialism. Therefore, Islam was instrumentalized as a weapon of as a tool of divide and rule, and it was instrumentalized as something to be othered and so on and so forth, where the Western world actually progressed on the back of taking advantage of the Eastern world. That's why I think Christianity has had the chance to be democratized and Islam hasn't, because Islam is still used today as a means of control in many countries. And I think it's a problem. I think Islam needs to be democratized. It needs to be. We should be able to criticize every religion and every ideology and every method of thinking. We should be able to scrutinize it through clever satire, comedy. We can do it through harsh and passionate talk without someone somewhere sending a fatwa saying this person should be killed. Without there being an uprising all over the world of millions of people protesting on the street. Why? Yeah. I think to that degree there is a problem that we have with religion. However, within a secular state, outside of these states that are very traditional, within a secular state, I think religion is still problematic in terms of indoctrination because it takes away from critical thinking, which is progressive.
I'm glad you came back to that point, because you spoke about that indoctrination prior to the independent ability to think cognitive thinking, etc. So, hypothetically, is your suggestion then that no religious ideology should be thrust upon children by their parents up to, say, age X? Is that
or by coming of age?
Yeah, is that what you see as the progressive's next step?
Definitely. I think
Do you think
obviously with room, I'll say this. Obviously with room for detail. Don't take it with a grain of salt because I haven't formulated it.
No, I appreciate
it. But essentially saying religion as the utmost or the best or the fundamental or the must way of thinking should be taken out. Critical thinking should be encouraged.
Absolutely.
Through education, and then the choice should be given to them as they come of age.
This is where I struggle personally,
Critical
because I
thinking
was
should
indoctrinated.
but critical thinking should definitely be encouraged from a young age. Irrespective of where you come. Like if you're in this country and you're given an opportunity, critical thinking should be the first thing that you teach your kids. Learn to criticize. Learn to look at something deeper than question it. Learn about it. But you see, I know that what you said with my example of you and physical training and diet. The thing is, though, I see my Christianity as the greatest thing that has happened, like a motivation to do good things. I see it as I see it as a very good, very beautiful thing in my life, and to wait for Joshua to come of age. To give him that, I think I'd be doing him a like an injustice.
To that I would say this. To that I would give examples of the fathers who have lost their sons to extremism. To that I would say this. To that I would say that would you believe? I think I can make a consensus statement that Christianity has also been practiced incorrectly and wrongly by a lot of
manifestations of being.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay. So I think essentially what I'm suggesting is that it is how you practice that religion which enriches your life, and if you practice that religion with integrity, and you practice that religion within moral, legal, social boundaries that are essentially secular, that have given you a choice to practice your religion in a healthy manner. Okay.
I think, and I've seen it quite regularly, and I see that you're not angry. Like I see that this is not an angry attack at religion, which is very which is beautiful. But because a lot of the conversations that I have like this are actually emotion filled and are quite angry because somebody somewhere in some religion somehow has offended, insulted, attacked. See, the way I view it is, if you look at a religion like Christianity, because that's the one where I can sort of I can speak from, I see it being practiced very poorly by many people. I see it being, but it's underlying its Christian teachings. It's what it's asking for will fit in a secular world. In that, I might not become overly capitalist because I'm a Christian, but I will be tolerant, forgiving, loving, caring.
That's why it has a direction. That's why it's directional, like I said to you. If Christianity was to be practiced within a secular context, then we will have this product. A person that is a moral person, that is a rightful person sitting in front. However, if a society was to be practiced through the scope of religion, essentially what would happen is that society would be a theocratic society. So religion, based on what you're saying, based on everything, we can essentially say that religion can have a place within a secular society as far as can it be practiced in a healthy way.
That's an excellent answer, I think.
Yeah. But I want to wrap this up because this is the irony of it. But essentially the essence of that society is secular. So someone somewhere somehow realized that a society cannot wholly be run based on religion.
I just want to,
and that is enlightenment. Yeah. That is the essence of enlightenment, and that is the essence of secular thinking. That broadly overwhelms the religion debate. And as my final position, I still believe that religion, even though it can be practiced healthily in this environment, because it's a secular environment, it is the net effect of it is that it has an impact, has a negative impact on critical thinking. Because it causes a dilemma at some point.
well, that would be the same for any moral code, but I just want to compare. I mean, you look at society today, and it's progressive. It is predominantly progressive and liberal in terms of the agenda of the media, predominantly, etc. But if you compare the decadence that I can see in our society as against Australia 30, 40, 50 years ago, when it had a very strong Christian stance, for example, I see that, and we can have a debate about whether or not observations were correct in the first place.
I'm not into that argument.
In terms of, we still had a separation of church and state. We didn't have a theocracy. What we had was a righteous people who were Christian, who were founded really, really strongly on those particular tenets, and we didn't have the same decadence that we see now. I don't know if that's just progressivism generally or the direction of humanity.
To be honest, I think it's got a lot more than moving away from Christian values in the country. I believe there's a lot of factors.
No, I agree.
So
look, I mean, if you were to, even if I was to divide into the argument into the, I guess, the mystics of it, and say God, God is, as many people have said this, God is not Christian. God is not, Muslim or a Jew or a Buddhist or a Sufi or whatever. God, if this same God that people practice to or people pray to, has expressed itself through the most righteous form of humanity, then it is humanity. That overwhelms the hearts of
inspired by. I mean, that's how I see it.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So essentially, every other system is a human system that has been structured to take a human towards that euphoria of humanity through different ways. But there is not one single way to get there, and I think. It is contextual. It had a time and a place. It was necessary at a time and a place where there was no other political system. But now, I mean, And now we like I said, we can get the same rule of code through Google.
All right, thank you for your thoughts on that, gents.
Thanks.
Good on you.